moving on to a film which I think will be a lot more contentious. And this is the new film from Jennifer Lawrence. And this is No Hard Feelings. And in this film, Maddie Barker, played by Jennifer Lawrence, is a girl in trouble. Her house is at risk of foreclosure. And she's an Uber driver who's just had her car towed away. But help comes from an unlikely source, as shown in this clip.
Look at this.
Need a car, date our son this summer, and bring him out of his shell before college. In exchange, we'll give you a Buick Regal. Date is in quotes. It's gotta be a joke, right?
No, have you seen these helicopter parents?
I'll start with this one, if I may. This is a comedy, and comedy is a very personal thing, as I know full well. But both myself and the illustrious Mrs. Movie Man, who went to see this with me, enjoyed this a lot. It had the sort of raunchy humour of Booksmart, which I kept seeing in not in terms of the storyline, but in terms of the kind of style of the film and the gags, and the likes of Sex Tape from a few years ago with Cameron Diaz. But there was also obviously a fairly immoral vein running through the film, since the lead character is effectively joining into the oldest profession in the world. Her friend who talks to her about this describes her as a vag for hire, which is a bit wrong, but there you go. And there's actually an interesting discussion in the film about a woman's rights to use her body as she thinks appropriately, which I thought was quite interesting. What I guess was a bit surprising for me, that took it out from just being a kind of typical frat boy style comedy, was that the story actually unfolds in what I thought was quite a sweet and surprising way. And I think because of the likes of Jennifer Lawrence acting out the role, I found that quite moving towards the end. And I wasn't expecting this to be a film which I found to have any sort of empathy with the characters in any way. I thought it was going to be a fairly straight comedy. So yeah, it had some rough edges. It had some bits that I thought needed some tidying up. But all in all, I didn't think it was quite at the peak of the likes of a Booksmart or a Game Night. But I thought this was a good summer comedy film. And it thoroughly entertained me. Let's go to Andy next, who I think has a different opinion about this film.
So I picked my T-shirt for tonight's episode, knowing we would view this very carefully, because it says "Whisper Words of Wisdom." It's rubbish. Comedy, laugh, I thought I'd never start. This is total and utter waste of time. I mean, it's The Graduate light. I came back and watched The Graduate because I needed to purge my cinematic soul after seeing this drivel. It's totally predictable. You said, Bob, that, it's a comedy. When did the comedy start? I saw it with about 30 other people. 3 people laughed 3 times, and they weren't laughing out loud. They were just sort of little chuckles under their breath. A few weeks ago, we had Love Again, which described itself as the comedy of the year. No laughs, worst film of the year, second worst film of the year, no hard feelings, but lots of regrets. Mostly that I wasted my time watching this pathetic, awful drivel. Whisper Words of Wisdom.
No regrets, that's a Take That song, we'll come back to that. So, well, there you go. The man has views. Scott,
yeah,
you saw it last night as well, didn't you?
I did.
What did you make of it? Are you with me or are you with him?
I'm Team Bob on this one, I've got to say. I really enjoyed No Hard Feelings. Yeah, like Bob said, I actually did find quite a bit.
None taken.
I did find quite a lot of it funny. The start of it, you've got that juvenile, raunchy sort of teen comedy styles. Some of it was funny, some of it wasn't. But I got enough chuckles out of that section. But yeah, as Bob says, as the movie goes on, there's a lot of heart to it, and in ways, I thought it was a really sad film. And I thought there was a lot of meaningfulness in terms of growing up and in terms of learning how to move on with your life in different ways. Both our leads have to learn to develop within themselves in different ways. And I thought they both did that. And the relationship they did it together with, I thought was kind of sweet, even though, in a way, the whole premise is a little bit wrong.
It's wrong in so many ways.
It's not right, but it kind of works based on the acting. Like Jennifer Lawrence, we know she's a great actress, and in here I thought she was really good. And the actor, whose name is Andrew Barth Feldman, I thought he was pretty impressive as well. There's one scene in particular where they're at a restaurant, and he goes over to the piano, and there was almost a lump in my throat at that point. I did get almost slightly emotional at that scene. I thought it was really, really good. I'm sorry, Andy, but I just thought it was
Andy is looking for divine inspiration. There we go. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you there. I mean, I thought what was interesting was that Jennifer Lawrence starts the film as not being somebody who looks like they're lost. It looks as if Percy is the person who is really in trouble and not connected to society. And as you go through the film, I think you appreciate that they're both lost in different ways, and they use each other to find a path. And I thought that was really quite interesting. I wasn't expecting that at all. Yeah. Emma, is this one you've seen or not?
So, no, unfortunately, I was due to see this and Greatest Days this week, and I had to cancel both tickets. So I am seeing them both tomorrow, Friday. Can't wait to see which side of the fence I land on.
Yep. Oh, yes, indeed. Team Bob or Team Andy. You see, Andy's got the Lord on his side, so, I mean, we're in trouble, I think, but...
Not at all. Any parents, the Lord had nothing to do with this, any parents that treat their child like that, want locking up for child abuse for starters, for the way in which they behave towards their child, not one character showed any degree of maturity. I do not believe that a 19-year-old boy would get up in the middle of a crowded restaurant and perform a song. Ryan Gosling in La La Land, yes. This kid in this piffle, no. I just didn't believe it. I didn't believe it from start to finish. I didn't believe the characters. Not 1 inch of maturity on display from any of them, and from the parents who really should have known better. Not one giggle. Not one giggle. Being picked 3 giggles in an audience of 30 people. Comedy.
I mean, honestly,
never has a word been more mystified.
That rant makes me feel like I'm going to fall on the Team Bob side of this watch.
You probably are. And I accept I'm probably in the minority.
We'll see. I always hesitate to ask, but Scott, score out of 10.
I'm going for an 8 out of 10 on this one.
Andy.
Thank the Lord I can bring the average down. 1.
Oh.
And I'm also giving it an 8 out of 10. So this is the definition of a Marmite film. So that is going to completely defeat my maths. What's 17 divided by 3 is 5.66, I think, as the Flickering Dreams score, which sadly, Scott, makes it a... Yes.
I have lived long enough.
Et tu, Brute. Very good. Okay, we're going to move on from No Hard Feelings, which I would give an extra point for just for the title, because I think that's an excellent title for the film.